Hi everyone, welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris and I'm your Cardvoyant. And today I have another one card reading along with another Jacob's message. So let's get started. I'm hoping that these one card readings are helpful just for getting through the day, basically, as we're all just trying to do. So I feel like, I'm reaching out to the guides, to your guides, my guides, to the Jacob's guides, and just asking for a little insight, a little help, something to make the day a little bit easier to get through. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to shuffle. I'll turn the screen down so you can see that, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what we have. Ah, a major arcana card, and it's the Hierophant. This is a card that you actually, or that I might actually expect to get, as the last card that we did was that Nine of Swords. So the Hierophant, right? Let's see if I can get this so you can actually see it. There we go. Um, this is an interesting card that comes with a lot of connotations and a lot of ways to interpret it. Now, as you can see, you've got this figure that's kind of um, iconic in a religious sense. This is often referred to as the Pope card, and you can see that in this element of this religious figure and these supplicants down here, and the sort of crown, of glory. And then there's just all this sort of religious symbolism. And then you've got these two strong pillars here. So this is talking about a couple of things for us. One is about our own personal renewal of faith in whatever form that takes. And it may take the form of simply having faith in yourself, the power that is you, the power that is your family, your friends, the people around you, and maybe not physically around you, but who support you. So it is sort of having faith in that. It can be, especially if you're not particularly spiritual or religious. But it also talks about renewing and discovering and spending time sort of settling in and dwelling with this idea of faith. When we're in these positions, when we feel a little bit powerless, I mean, we can do what we can do, but we don't have, power over the total picture. So it is a time when we tend to turn to some sort of faith to figure out the bigger picture. But that's part of the process. I mean, that's part of what's going on here, is that call to us to figure out what it is we believe in, what it is we care for, and what it is we want to perpetuate. And that's the other thing about this card, is because it includes these pillars, talk about these institutions that we have in our lives and in our societies, these structures that are built for us or that we build, that sort of define our lives and sometimes keep us rather captive within our lives. Now, on a global level and on a national level, we're very much in the process of deciding which of those very strong but also historical, long-lasting pillars we want to continue in the future. And it's up to us. This is our country. This is our society. This is the world that we build as individuals grouped together, right? So we do get to decide. We vote in this country, and so what is it that we're going to keep? What do we want to see stay? What structures? What systems? What ways of doing things? We have a lot of things in our country that have been going on for a long time and that have just sort of built up. I mean, the thing that I'm thinking in my head that comes to mind is like lobbyists and lobbying efforts, the money sort of that we have in politics that have evolved. The whole process has evolved to get to the point where it is today, where so much of what happens is in the interest of corporations and so forth. And that's sort of being laid bare. There's so many things that are being laid bare, and we're being called on as to decide what it is that we're going to keep, and what is certainly not worth keeping, and what certainly needs to be destroyed, broken down, right, and replaced with hopefully something better. But as we go inside and decide these things, these bigger picture things for ourselves, these things in which we have faith and to which we devote our faith, we're better able to do that. But this is a very obviously strange time and almost surreal time, right? But it's almost something that we needed, this like length of time. Like I'm sure everyone is feeling a little bit, antsy at this point when you may have been in lockdown for a couple of weeks, or it may have been more than a month. That's kind of where we are here in California. Is we've been doing this for over a month. Most places have, and you start to feel a little bit antsy, but this length of time, you go from that feeling of what is happening, this is surreal, this is crazy, how do I manipulate this, as far as getting groceries or as far as dealing with the kids every single day, every single minute, or, not being able to see people, and you go from that and just, it's all crazy, to figuring things out, to figuring out how this works, this temporary time works. And as we've had that sort of curve where we've sort of eased into it, this is the point we're in now, which is why we get this card like today, and we didn't get it 2 weeks ago, is because we now have sort of lulled into that place where we can spend some almost like quality time thinking of these things. You may have been meditating all along. It may be your practice. It may be that you tried to start meditating or did start meditating as soon as you had this intense lockdown time. And it may be that it has been too much to ask to meditate and to, think of these bigger things. You're just trying to get through the day. But it may also be the case that you're now sort of in a place where you can do that. And that's what this card calls on you to do. And it's also, finally, I'll say, a reassurance, because this religious iconography it is reassuring in this sense that there is something to this, like a purpose, not only to what we are going through now, but to life in general, to our being here on this planet, and especially at this time. This is all something that is important, and that can help us grow, and that is important not only for us right now and for the immediacy of the situation that we're in, not only in this country but in countries throughout the world. These changes and the way that we're trying to sort of restore a love of humanity, not just a trust of humanity, but a love of humanity. That's all important and part of this, but it's also this bigger picture of the legacy that we leave for our children and our children's children. So that's why we get this very, this very religious feeling card, because it is about this continuity, about the the eternal nature of ourselves and lives and our lives and what we do with it, and the legacy of it, and how we are bringing that about now, how it's a part of what we're going through now. So it's like a kind of a serious card calling us to look at this in serious ways as much as we can, because like I said, there's a lot of things that are just sort of overwhelming right now. So as much as we can, but to begin at this point to look at it, these inner questions, our inner selves, and this idea of um, of what we leave behind, what we are doing now to make these changes and sort of reconcile and wrestle with these ideas, and how we bring them forth to go out into the world for generations and affect generations, and hopefully in a very positive way. So that's our one card reading for the day. I also have, I wanted to, and I promised you in the last video, to offer another sort of segment of Jacob's Journal, which is the name that I've finally come to give these master guides who have begun channeling some information through me to deliver to you. And this has come as sort of a process, and more clearly just lately in the form of automatic writing, which I showed you yesterday. I can sort of show you again that it starts out when I'm getting the information looking like this. I just sort of, scribble it as it comes to me, usually in meditation. And then I've kind of tried to put it in a form that I can actually read to you. And again, I'm making this information written form available on my website, cardvoyant.com. So if you want to go there and actually read it, get that written thing, if you're visual in that way, if you're a learner in that way. I very much am. That's why I'm still writing things down in a notebook. I like to be able to turn pages and kind of see things that way. And it's something that means more to me. So that's why I've done it in this way. But I'm going to just go ahead and read this message to you. And I will tell you that as I was meditating and got this message, I was sort of like, it was like that network thing. You're sort of mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore. And I was kind of like, oh, I need to sit here and in my mind demand the things that I want, and, demand that I, life goes this way kind of. But that's how I was thinking of it. And then as I tried to settle and meditate on it, this is the message that I got. So Jacob says, "This is not a demanding. This is a claiming. There's no need to demand power, which implies rank or an ascendancy of power by some and dependency or subjugation of others. Rather, this is a claiming, which always has been and is now ours. Ours. Your personal power. This is your birthright. And for too long, it has been in the corners of yourself, stifled in darkness, untrusted and unnurtured. Collectively, this is a global phenomenon. For too long, you have acquiesced to the so-called powers that be, lined with frameworks not of your own making, willing slaves to the minds and goals of other men and women. When the differences in what was supposed to be, what was wanted, yearned for, felt to be expected and right, and that of what was. So the differences between what was supposed to be and what was. the reclaiming began. Now, as you have your own time back, your own space where you mirror and reflect and symbolize your inner selves so much at once, you have begun to recognize and feel and respect and expect the abilities of your own personal power, which is the right to pursue your own passions and loves and goals and expectations and needs and desires and joys and challenges and individual experiences. Thus, you are claiming, reclaiming your personal power, personally and en masse. As it grows with each of you personally, it creeps and flows into the main. And so too, and you are reclaimed, reborn. And so too is your reality. And slowly, with increasing eventuality, certainty, so too is your larger world, and indeed your planet. This is your birthright, the power of creation, which is the power of love. So there you have it. I felt like this message was very personal in relation to what we're all going through right now. So I hope that it's helpful. I mean, it was helpful to me. I love the idea of not demanding, but claiming and reclaiming. So I hope that that had meaning for you as well. I do want to mention that a couple of people have asked me about the Last Cups tutorial, and that is coming within, I'm actually sort of going through that process now, a couple more days, and it will be up, and there'll be some other things. This Jacob's information will be available on my website, as I mentioned, where you could also book a personal reading if that's something that you're interested in. I've had a couple people also ask about tarot classes, and that's something that I would like to do, but it's something that I need to formulate, like figure out what that would even look like. So hopefully that's coming too. So thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of your, really interesting and very kind comments. I appreciate it. So until our next video like this, and I do have more information coming up because I do have some more Jacob's information that's come through. So that will be, quickly within the next day or so. But until then, please take care of yourself. Please take care of others. And I will see you on our next video. Bye for now.